Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me for our last installment of our holiday kitten. He's looking very wonderful, I think. So here's where we were when we stopped on Wednesday. Before we get started finishing this up, I want to mention a few things to you. First of all, thank you very much for joining this class. And it will be in the Facebook group after we're finished recording. But I will also upload it to YouTube and send you a private link. I'll send you links to all 3 videos so that you can just click on those. You don't have to go to the Facebook group to view them. And the group will stay up as long as Facebook is around, I assume, and the same is true of the video links on YouTube. I also wanted to share some exciting news with you. We are going to move to Patreon, and I hope to get that up and running by the new year. And the reason I'm moving to Patreon is so that I can paint more detailed subjects, which people have been asking me about for years now. I want to explore more detailed paintings and backgrounds with velour, with pastel mat and pastel pencils, and also on sandpaper. And so on Patreon, I'll be able to do that and take my time and really explain things to you. And we'll have contests and prizes and things like that too. So be sure that you're signed up for my newsletter to get details. I will put it on Facebook and Instagram, although they don't always get shared or shown to very many people on those outlets. So the easiest way to find out what I'm doing is to sign up for my newsletter on my website. There's a box to do that at the bottom of the page. And if you would share that information with others, I would really appreciate it. And then it's going to be Thanksgiving next week, and the day after Thanksgiving is the biggest sales day of the year. So I will be having a holiday sale as well. And stay tuned for information on that. It'll come through the newsletter, and I'll also put it on Facebook. And I think that's all I have to tell you. Please feel free to write me with any questions that you have. Circling back to Patreon, that's going to solve the Wi-Fi problems entirely that we've had this year. I know a lot of you are rural and you have trouble with the Wi-Fi, and having Patreon as a host should eliminate that. The projects won't be live, but they will be very detailed and have, I think it's a very good option. We've been looking at it for a while. Okay, so back to our kitty cat. I hope that you didn't have too much trouble with the tree. I see some areas down here in the corner on my cat I would like to finish, and then we're going to paint this ornament. And so I'm going to get my gray pencil and my white pencil. It doesn't seem to be quite balanced to me, so I want to put a few more hairs over here. A little more fur. And then add some white. also just want to add a few more black. Once you get away from your painting for a while and you come back to it, you can see things you want to change. I've read and come to believe that spending an hour and a half on a project is about as long as your attention span is. After that, you tend to make mistakes, and so it's a good time to take a break from your work and then come back and look at it again and see what you want to change. So when you get away from it and you come back, you can see little things maybe you wished you had done differently. This is the 681. I'm just putting in a couple more hairs. And a couple of whiskers. Now, let's talk about the ornament. We're going to add gold accents to this ornament. So in this upper part where it's attached to the tree, for the accents to show up, we need to draw in some shadows. And we're going to do that with the Carbothello 615. I'm going to cover up my cat. And so I'm going to do this by kind of putting a shadow with this pencil, which is kind of a dark gold. So if I draw around the edge and put a shadow, on the outside edges where the ornament is joined to this little hanger, then we're going to come back with our gold accents. So I'm going to come down the cord that's also attached, and basically I'm just outlining it. And we're going to come back with gold and put that there. Now, to draw the ornament, I'm going to tell you that red travels when you paint with it. It can tend to get all over your paper, which is why I'm covering my cat. Now, to outline this edge, I want to use a pencil I already have, so I'm going to use my 194 Violet, and I'm going to carefully go around the edge, and this is going to help, hopefully, to keep the red contained within the ornament. You could also, if you happen to have a whole set of Carbothellos, you could use, or any other pencils, you could use a dark red pencil. But I created this project. I didn't want you to have to use a lot of extra pencils. Now, it's been my experience that all reds tend to migrate. Okay, so we formed nice outline to our ornament. And now we're going to add color. And we're going to use the, I believe it's 256 red. I don't think that's right. Mine doesn't have a, yep, that's right. 256 crimson red. And it's a very hard color. It's hard for it to come off. So you're going to have to sand it. Which is what I'm going to do. And then when I sand it, it's easier to get the color off. And what that means is it's got a lot of binder in it. I'm going to use the tip. To push it right into that edge. Got 2 of these. Then we're gonna, when we get this color in, we're gonna blend it with a blending stick. Now, if you haven't bought your supplies yet, you happen to have another soft pastel at home that has that's red, you know, by all means use that. I was trying to, and don't worry if it doesn't fill it all the way in, because we're going to get it filled in. I'm going to use the pointy one. To get it right up to that edge. Okay, now I'm going to take my blending stick and I cover up my cat, and I'm going to push this red pastel into the paper. Right up to the edge. And I'm using a fair amount of pressure with this. Be very careful. To get it right up to that edge. I'm looking to see if I have a smaller blender in my box. I don't, but a little tiny one would be good. And blow off any dust, because you don't want this red to get on your cat. Okay, now I want to blend this in a little better, so I'm going to take the red, violet 194 and just blend it into the red a little bit more. We're going to add a three-dimensional look to the ornament. I'm not going in very far. Now I'm using a 266 pale vermilion, and I'm going to add, this is like an orange, right in this area, and I'm going to blend it in. With my stump, and also in the bottom half. If you don't have this color, it's not necessary. But the real magic happens when we add the iridescent quality. Now what I use is Sennelier number 804. I don't know the name of this color, but it is the iridescent series. Now I tried all of the pink to white iridescent colors to achieve this. I also used an iridescent pan pastel, and I did not get the same results. Now, in order for this to look round, the light strikes the ball here and here and makes it round. So I'm going to take this. This is a super soft pastel. And I'm going to add it right here. And right here. And I'm going to blend it with my finger. And it adds that shimmer that I'm looking for. I don't know if you can see it on camera. I'm going to move my camera. I don't know if it'll shine for you. Let me show you. I was going to show you another one, which I will when we get to the decorating part. Okay, so we have finished the ball. Now, as I said, if you don't have those colors, if you have another color, for instance, here's a little stick of random red pastel I had. If I add that, that's nice to add another dimension to your Christmas ball. But my goal was to provide a color list of easy to find pastels. Now see, I kind of messed that up, so I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to take my eraser and clean up that edge. Now, we're going to decorate our Christmas ball. This is what I used. This is Liquitex Soft Body Acrylic Iridescent Bright Gold. It comes in little tiny bottles. This is the size I had for my class because we needed a lot of gold paint when we did this before. Excuse me. So I'm going to put some in a little cup. This is really beautiful paint. And I have a little brush. Now I have several little brushes actually. I have a script brush, and I have two round brushes. I have a Loeb Cornell number 5, and I have a number 3. I think your paper says number 2, which would be just fine. That's what we used in our class. But the first thing I'm going to do is show you how we're going to start at the top with the ornament hanger. So I have my paint, and I have a little water. And I'm going to thin the paint down just a little bit. And I'm going to come down the side of the hanger. to get this too thin because then it doesn't do well. And I'm going to go my little hanger. And I'm going to go in the center of my little hanger. That looks pretty. Now, what you put on the ball is kind of up to you. In my class example, I had a snowflake design. I think you can see it. It's kind of gotten dusty, but I put that on the ball. Okay? Then another one that I did, I wrote our name on it. So here's another cat that I did. And I made a snowflake, and then I wrote my last name, Wit, but I made it go off the edge so it looked like the ball was turning, and it also makes it look like the ball is round. So it's going to be up to you what you put on your Christmas ball. So I'm just going to put a snowflake pattern. And I know all you decorative painters out there are really good with your brush work. Much better than I am, I'm sure. If you happen to have a favorite Christmas decoration, you want to copy something that you already have, that'd be good too. I think I need a smaller brush. I'm going to get me a smaller brush. How about that? So to give it a 3D look, you want one edge to go, you want the design to run off the edge. You don't want it to be even. Now I love the way that the paint goes right over the pastel. So on this side, we're going to paint a half moon, a semicircle, where the design goes off the edge. Now you don't have to do this. You can decorate it however you want to. You can put little dots. However you want to decorate your Christmas ornament. And you can put more than one layer on if you want. You could even put gold leaves in your Christmas tree, some gold filaments. Be sure and let that dry good before you touch it. So you could put gold in your tree as well. That's actually kind of pretty. I didn't do it the first time, but I like that.
See how this is more connected there and here than it is.
Okay.
Looking good.
So whatever you might like to do. Another thing we could work on is making the cat and the arm of the cat look more connected. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. If you wanted to do that, if you would like, mine is disconnected here and much more connected on this one. So to do that, we would bring the fur down. I'm using the 640 dark brown, and this is 670. And then I would just draw more fur out. I want to keep the bottom edge open so that I can add some writing down here. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to add a personal touch to your picture. I'll show you things I've done in the past and how you can make a Christmas card out of this. Particularly, I do like the gold in the tree. I think that kind of ties it together. So I would add more of that, actually. I do like that. Adds a little panache to that, don't you think? I like that. Okay, moving on. Now I'm going to show you some other things that I have done. Several different things. Now, I have spent some time learning calligraphy. If you have a calligraphy pen, and which would be great if you have one. I have a black one. I do not have a gold one, but you can get a gold calligraphy pen with an edge. I have a gold pen. It is just a regular fine point. It's metallic. I checked on Amazon. You can get a gold iridescent one for about $3. I just couldn't get it here in time, or I would have. So we're going to try some different things. There are a couple of ways, and I have this extra sheet of paper. To show you some things. So if you have a gold pen, if you're really good at your brush work, then use your gold paint and your number 2 brush and letter it on. If you're not, I'll show you a couple of ways that work. Here is the gold pen. And so I'm going to write Mary, and Christmas comes after that, okay? So I can do that with this one. Then I can take my calligraphy pen and I can write, this one's black. Christmas. So if you had a calligraphy pen, this would be a wonderful way to adorn your picture. But let's assume we don't have either one of those. I can take the same pencil that I used to draw the strap with, and let's write Mary. Now, I can come back over it with gold paint, which is what I did in this one. So I take my paintbrush and my gold paint. Now on this black one, I can do the same thing too. I can take and put a line of gold paint next to it. I need some more paint. But that didn't work as well. So if I do it next to the outline, of Mary, that works really much better. And then when it dries up, I can go back with my pencil and outline it. A little better. I was pleased with the way that turned out. That wasn't too bad. But my favorite way is to use the calligraphy pencil. Now I'm going to show you some other things. I took a photograph of my painting. In this case, it was this painting because it was finished. You know, I'm going to take the Payne's Gray and I just love painting fur. Can you tell? He looks so cool. Please also feel free to share your paintings on the page and show other people what you've done. I took this painting and I put it on a card last year and we sent it out as Christmas cards. Now I did this at Vistaprint and I will put these names in a comment for you, or I'll put them in the email when I send it out. And here's the reverse side, which has another one of my paintings in it. These are inexpensive and all you have to do is have your photograph and you can upload it to your site. I also went to Walmart. They do Christmas cards, but their website's not too good, and I was never able to upload my picture and create a card. Then I went to Shutterfly. I was really excited about Shutterfly. So I went to Shutterfly, and I uploaded my painting into their database and put it into this. They already have created these templates and you just put your photograph in it. Is that not great? And then you can have them print them. They're not that expensive. This one says, "Wishing you a Merry Christmas 2020. The other one I did, the other template, was this one, Merriest Christmas. And then I didn't, this just says the family, but I could have put Stephen K. Witt or my name or something on that.
Put more of it in the screen.
Okay, well, this is wet, so let's see. Let me put this down so you can see it. There we go.
No more of your picture. More of your painting picture. You have to move the camera.
My assistant is helping me. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. See, I can't read the screen. Steve helps me. So my painting's in the picture now. Okay, back to what I was talking about, Shutterfly. So they have, Vistaprint and Shutterfly have lots of templates, and I'm sure there are other sites, but I was looking for the most affordable. Then I got this idea. I personally have always used Vistaprint, and they've just done a super job. They have lots of, they do all my printing. But what I did to show you this was I took a screenshot after I put my picture into it. I took a screenshot on my computer, and then I printed it. And so I have a card, kind of. By using their template, I printed it and made my own card. You might want to try that. I think I like this one better. But they have lots of different ones, and it allows you to display your artwork. So I hope that gives you an idea of what to do. So it's time for me to sign my painting. If you guys have any questions, please ask me. I know we finished a lot earlier, so if you want me to demonstrate anything or do anything, please put it on the screen, and I will. Here's another here's another one I worked on. Let's paint another design on it. I'm going to put this down to cover this one. And I'm going to color this in a bit. With some dark red. I normally don't spray my work either, but I probably would because of the red, to keep it from moving. That created quite a bit of dust. Let's put some iridescent on there. Now this time, I think I'm going to put some stripes. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, Pat wants to see the calligraphy that I did before. Okie dokie. Pat, are you talking about this one? Or are you talking about this? I'm gonna wait a minute and see what Pat says. I see I could also this is dried now. Okay, these were two things that I did. One of the other things I tried, there is one other thing I didn't show you. I have a red Sharpie. I also wrote with the red Sharpie. I mean, you could take and do this. You could take a red Sharpie, let's do block letters. Like that. Then I could take my paint, and I wouldn't have to paint all of it, but I could paint little dots, kind of ornamented, which I thought was really nice. I tried this one place, and you can certainly make your letters bigger than mine. But of all the things that I tried, I thought this worked the best. I actually do like that one the best. I don't know if it shows up as well as it looks or not. Let's try it. And something bigger. How about that? So I don't put my hand in it. Let's take this cat. Let's write it bigger. Get my paint. Okay, I think I like that the best. That works, is the easiest and the best way to do it. So, since we decided that, oh, let me if we were going to paint stripes, we would make them curve. Press harder in the center and come back out. Go straight down the center this time. Ooh, I like that. That's quite pretty. I think if I was doing it over again, I would use the stripes. And you decorative painters who've mastered your strokes would do a better job than me. I do like that. That's quite pretty. This gets my vote. Oh, Pat has a great idea about using an embosser. I have one of those too, actually. They come in handy around here. Here's my embosser. It's not very big, but ooh, this is fun. Thank you, Pat. Perfect dots every time. Definitely my favorite design so far. Pat, do you happen to know if a toothpick would work if you don't have one? I think I could go dot crazy here. Wow. Thank you, Pat. That looks really cool. I'm delighted with that. And yes, we could decorate the lettering as well down at the bottom. Oh, this is, I had written Patreon on here earlier today. And put little dots on it. Perfect. So there you have it, ladies. I think I'm going dot crazy. This is, though, by far my favorite pattern, so when I do part of a painting, I don't know about the rest of you, that I like, I cut out the parts that I like and save it. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to save it. Just the ornament part. So that's a great idea. Pat says they come in different sizes. This is why we need each other, and why this time has just been so hard, because we didn't have each other. Here's mine. It doesn't really, oh, it's a number 1.
I wanted to know the colors you use to shade the ball with.
Pat?
Yes.
Okay. On your color list are, 256 red, and I shaded it with a red-violet pencil. But in my box, I had a piece of dark, soft pastel that was red, and that's what I did before painting this particular ornament. Which isn't fair to use a color that you don't have, which I try never to do. Does that answer your question? If you have a Rembrandt, red would work for that. This is my favorite, my absolute favorite ball. It's fabulous. So what else can I show you guys or do for you guys? This is really pretty. Is there something else that you would like to see me demonstrate? Do you want me to paint some more fur? This poor kitty's eye is kind of missing. I have a lot of practice pieces when I paint because I want to explore my ideas before I pass them on to you, to make sure that they work like they're supposed to, because sometimes they don't. Now this is the red violet pencil. Let's clean that up a little bit. I'm going to use Okay, Eileen, I'm glad to hear that you ordered some. The more I explore pastel mat, the more I like it. There are things it will do that other things won't do, and vice versa. I think each technique everything you want to paint, there's a paper that works well for it. As you all know, I love velour. But in my new venture, I'm planning to really explore these little blenders made by Pan Pastel. Work great on pastel mat with soft pastel for blending, just by the way. Okay, Pat would like to know where she can get pastel mat with the backing on it and the colors. My pastel mat is kind of like a card. It has a certain backing on it, and it just comes that way. If you want to put it on a board, then I would suggest putting it on Crescent Perfect Mount, which is a self-adhesive board, and I would get the single thickness, which I sometimes mount velour on that, and I have done pastel mat as well to keep it flat. Now, I love pastel mat, and you can get a pad of colors, I'm pretty sure from Dick Blick. You can also get it from Dakota, although it takes a long time to get things from Dakota, and they do charge you shipping. But I think Dick Blick would have it. I buy it when it's on sale, and I buy it in large sheets, and then I cut it. Does that help? Well, mine came this way, Pat. It came on this. It's a card, kind of like a card stock. It's not like the velour paper, which needs a mounting. This really doesn't. When you're done with it, you can have it, you can frame it with spacers or with a mat, and it works really well. I haven't had any problem doing that. But if you can use spacers between the mat and the pastel mat, that works even better. And don't put too much pastel on your paper, as always. I really like this. Pastel mat comes in a variety of colors, and I gotta tell you, they have a navy blue that I really love a lot. They also have something called anthracite, which is kind of like black, but it's not exactly black. I did a beagle. It's on my website, and it's on Facebook too, on the anthracite pastel mat, and I'm going to do that on Patreon next year. It is a great project. It was also in Painting World magazine, but on Patreon I'll be able to do video so that you can see it. It's I like it. For that, I was surprised that it would turn out as well as it did. And so I like the navy blue. I like the anthracite. I also have a dark green, which is perfect for doing flowers. And the only problem with pastel mat is do not dry mount it or use any kind of heat because it's a cork base. Let me get a piece of perfect mount to show you what I'm talking about. Hang on. This is a perfect mount. It's made by Crescent. I buy it in sheets from Dick Blick. This is the single thickness, so you can see it's kind of thin. And the way it works is that the paper peels off like contact paper. Do you remember the old contact paper? Let's see if I can get it going. Of course not. There we go. Okay. So then it's sticky. You would position your paper on it and stick it to it, and then that would make it stiffer than it currently is. It would keep it that way. Another way, which I don't recommend but I have tried, is gluing it to a piece of mount board, 2-ply mount board. Steve and I spent a day doing that, and that didn't work out so well. I got glue all over my pastel mat. Yes, Rebecca, I will write this in the email when I send the links. So I'll send you the websites for making cards and some information, or like write you that it's Crescent Perfect Mount. Is there anything else you would like to know? Dry mounting is the process of applying heat to a piece of paper and binding it through a film of, it's really more like a web type surface of glue. So you have a mount board, you have a sheet of glue, and you have the paper. In my case, I dry mount all my velour paper, and it's put in a press and heated up. And the heat melts the glue and adheres the paper to the board. All pastel mat comes like this, with this this thickness that really doesn't need any extra mounting. So I don't dry mount this, but I do dry mount all my velour paper. It's just too floppy otherwise. Everything else is one of pastel matte paintings would be attached to foam core with little corners they put on it to hold it in place, or you could use linen hinges, I imagine, and then the spacer is applied to keep it off the glass. Any other questions? If I didn't answer your question or you aren't clear, please, if you leave a comment in the box, I will be able to reply to that, or you can send me an email and I'll reply to you directly. And my wonderful assistant is watching too, and so he lets me know. Another thing, Eileen, dry mounting is very expensive, and at least in this area, and I'm not able to like get any kind of discount for volume. So I buy my paper unmounted and then take it to my framer for dry mounting. Velour, Pat, I have used the crescent mount and then a brayer. In fact, on YouTube, my YouTube channel under playlists, there is a video of dry mounting velour, or not dry mounting, but attaching velour paper to the crescent perfect mount. It's really easy to do. You just have to make sure you get it on straight. Now, in the video, I get it on crooked and pull it off, because it says you can pull it off, and I put it back on. So, for entertainment purposes, it's a pretty good video too. And then there's also a video that shows how we frame the velour paintings with the glass on the top. But pastel matte, you don't put the glass on the top. Thank you, Pat. Any other questions? And I can't tell you all how much we appreciate your support during this year. This has been the strangest year of my entire life, and I'm sure yours too. And we're coming up on the holiday season, and then we're going to start 2021. But please join me on Patreon. I will be posting the projects on YouTube and on Facebook so that you can see them in advance. And we will be having our annual holiday sale. So if you have any other comments or suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions of what you'd like to see. I know that more detail is something that's wanted. I will also be doing portraits on Patreon, which is really my first love, is painting people and going into detail on the portraits. So I thank you all for coming and for supporting me. And happy painting on your kitty cat. And if you would like any tips, or you want me to take a look at your cat and give you any feedback, just send it to me. I'd be happy to do that. And thank you. Thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you, Eileen. The same to you. I'll see you in 2021. Bye-bye for now.